Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Proper Place live show here in our YouTube channel. We are back to break down some top 25 college basketball games for this Saturday slate. 19, Trey, top 25 games we're going to be breaking down. We also have the Dog of the Week and the Parlay Lock, probably a little bit longer live because we have 19 games to break down. Let's get right into these plays. Probably the best game of the Saturday slate. 11 a.m. tip-off, Houston going up against Baylor. Baylor at home. Plus 2.5. Over-under is 136.5. Have you start, Trey?
Gosh, this game's going to be a very, very entertaining game to watch. Bear, he loves to break down the Big 12 games, and I feel like he has a very good fingertip for how most of the games go. So I'm excited to hear what he thinks this game's going to be. Houston, they're obviously the better team, but I'm sure Bear's going to bring it up about the home wins for the Big 12 team. So it's hard to go against Baylor here. But with this spread being so low, I'm just going to take the cheese. Give me Houston minus 2.5. Anytime we can get Houston this low of a spread, basically almost a pick 'em, I just have to take their defense here. Their defense is going to show up, and their offense can do just enough to cover this spread. So, Bear, I'm excited to see what you think, though.
Little split right off the bat, baby. Give me the home dog here, Baylor, plus 2.5. I will say, though, if Langston Love doesn't play, he's questionable to play for Baylor. If he does not play, I'm all over Houston. But if he does play, I like Baylor with the points. At home, Ray J. Dennis, Walker, those guys are some dudes for that Baylor team. They're going to win this game, I think. They're going to win this game outright. Houston, I think this is the first time they've played Baylor this season as well. I think they played 2 games down the stretch. So I like Baylor here. I think they can keep up with Houston defensively, not so much, but Baylor can put up 80-plus points pretty easily on any team. So I'm going to take Baylor with the points. We're going to split in the first game. Let's go to the SEC. Vanderbilt going up against Florida. Florida minus 16.5, over under 152.5. I've got to play. Florida's coming off the loss to Alabama, a game they really should have won. Give me Florida's team total over if we can find it, and give me Florida minus 16.5. This team is incredible. They're in the top 25, finally getting some respect. They can out-rebound anybody. They've got 2 massive white dudes in the paint that can get any single board. They've got great shooters on the outside. I love Florida in this game, especially at home in the Swamp. Minus 16.5, easy bet for me, Trey.
Gosh, this game is going to be enticing to watch. I will say this. Vanderbilt, they've won the last 2 games against Florida. I was pretty shocked whenever I saw that, but I think this is a different Florida team and a different Vanderbilt team. Vanderbilt, they've been doing a little bit better here of recently, but Bear said exactly what it needed to be said. Florida, they are an elite offense, and their defense can do just enough to, keep Vanderbilt to a low number to cover this spread for us. So I'm going to take Florida here. It's a lot of points, minus 16.5, but if there's any team that can get blown out in conference play, it's Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I also like the team total there as well if we can find it for anybody on Saturday. But you don't have to try to find it right now. But I love the team total for Florida. Probably going to be like 80-something. They're going to score 90-plus easy in that game. Let's go on to the next game. Duke, number 8 team in the country, is traveling to take on Wake Forest. And Wake Forest is the small favorite at home. I'm taking Wake Forest minus 2.5, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, this game's going to be interesting. I don't know why the line is what it is. I know that these 2 teams, they did not play that too long ago. In fact, it was actually just about 10 days ago. So there's a lot of fresh blood in the water. And Wake Forest, they had that game in their hands before crumbling away late. They ended up losing at Duke by 8 points. And I think I heard that they have not won at Duke since like the 1980s or something like that. It's been a long time since they've won at Duke. This game's at Wake Forest for them, thankfully. And I'm going to take Duke here. Give me Duke. I'm going to take them at minus 2.5 or plus 2.5 in this game. Anytime, I just said this about Houston, anytime that we can get these elite teams as small favorites or as underdogs, we got to jump on it. Duke as an underdog, I love that play. It is a different Duke team than what we've seen over the past, definitely, but they're still Duke and Wake Forest is still Wake.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to take Wake. I understand what you're saying. This line doesn't make any sense to me. Why I even text you. I was like, why is Wake Forest minus 2.5 at home against Duke? Wake can definitely score points. The defense of Duke is really good, and so is the offense. So game doesn't make any sense. Give me the minus 2.5 for Wake Forest. Let's move on to the Big 12 again. West Virginia going on the road against Iowa State. Nobody goes into Iowa State and wins. West Virginia is plus 17.5, though. Over-under is 143.5. I'll have you start here.
Yeah, this game is going to be interesting. Another big spread for a conference game. We got to love to see that, and Bear said it best. Give me Iowa State here, minus 17.5 in this game. I think that they might have a great chance to even be covering this at halftime. Iowa State, they are very good on both ends. West Virginia, they can score points, but their defense is as leaky as it can get. And it's actually kind of counterintuitive how fast-paced West Virginia plays because they play very fast, so they can score a lot of points. Most of the time, though, the shots don't go in, and that puts their defense in a bad position. They're actually ranked in the bottom 30 in college basketball when it comes to shot attempts allowed per game. And Iowa State, they can pour on the points quickly. So if you give them a ton of opportunities, they're going to strike pretty quickly. So I love Iowa State in the big spread minus 17.5.
Yeah, I would love to take West Virginia here. I just can't because Iowa State's coming off that loss against Houston. This team's going to play really hard. Like Trey said, they're going to score a ton of points in this game against that West Virginia defense, and the West Virginia offense is going to have trouble against the top 5 rated Iowa State defense. So give me the Cyclones here, minus 7.5. We're going to sweep with the Cyclones. I think that game's going to be like, I don't know, 80-50, something like that. I mean, the Cyclones are going to dominate them. Let's move on to this game. Both teams kind of collapsed down the stretch a couple nights ago. Washington going on the road against Arizona. Washington did pull the win out after blowing a 25-point lead to Arizona State. Arizona did not win against Washington State the last time out. Arizona is minus 14.5. Over-under is 168. Trey, start.
Yeah, this game's going to be very fun to watch. The Pac-12 in their last season, they've been delivering bangers, and I feel like it's a very competitive conference. Arizona, they're obviously up at the top, but then everyone else below them is honestly pretty evenly matched. But like I said, Arizona is at the top, and Bear said it best. They lost the last game out to Washington State. They're not going to want to get swept at home against the state of Washington. So give me Arizona here. I'm going to take them minus 14.5. Anytime that we can get a team as elite as Arizona coming off a loss, we know that they're going to come in this game prepared and ready to kill. So give me the Wildcats here. I'm going to take them to win big, minus 14.5 versus Washington.
Yep, I'm with you. This is a game I feel like Arizona's going to score 100 points off of a bad loss against Washington State. They were minus 14 in that game, minus 14 again in this game. They're not going to make the same mistake. Give me Arizona here. This is a team that went on the road against Washington. I think they beat them by 20-something, 20-plus points. So Arizona at home laying the 14.5, no big deal. Give me Arizona. We're going to sweep with that game there. Let's go over back to the Big 12. Big 12 is loaded with top 25 teams. BYU going on the road to face off against your Kansas State Wildcats. Kansas State catching 1.5 at home, over under 146.5. I'll start. I'll take the Wildcats at home plus 1.5. This team is really good at home. So if you get them off their home floor, they're not that great. But I like Kansas State here plus 1.5. I think they get the job done. BYU, really good shooting of the three, not so good on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm going to take Kansas State here. Trey?
Yeah, I have to agree with you here, and it's not any bias, even though I will be breaking down this game again on my parlay lock, which will be Kansas State plus 1.5. I'm going to side with Bear here. I love K-State here in this game, and this is coming from what might be a closet BYU fan. I said BYU has a great chance to win the Big 12, and they've kind of gotten knocked down during conference play, but they're still a very good offense. But like Bear said, Kansas State in Bramlage Coliseum, they are a different monster. They're 11-3 at home this year. Meanwhile, whenever you force the Cougars to travel outside the state of Utah, they really struggle. They're 2-5 on the road this season, and they've lost 2 straight conference road games against Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. And Oklahoma State is not very good, and they lost that game by double digits. So I expect K-State to do what they do best, muck this game down. This is going to be a 55-50 type game. I don't think it's going to be that because BYU can score points, but I think this is going to be a muck-it-up game, and K-State's going to walk out with the win. But I'm going to catch that 1 point. Let's go.
All right, love it. We keep sweeping these games together. Let's move on to Iowa going on the road against Illinois. Illinois is laying 9. Over under is 168.5. I'm going to start here. Illinois off of a horrible loss against Penn State. Penn State won that game. They were down, I think, by 9 or 10 points with a couple minutes left. They found a way to win it. Illinois blew that game. Iowa is one of the hotter teams right now in the Big Ten. They won 3-4. But Iowa beat Illinois at their house by 2 points last time. Illinois is going to win this one by 10-plus points. So I'm going to take Illinois minus the 9.5 points. This game's going to hit the over as well. So if you want the over, take the over. Trey?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Bear here. Illinois has won 4 straight home games going up against Iowa. It looks like Iowa cannot travel into Illinois and walk out with a win. So I'm going to take Illinois here. And Terrence Shannon, he is on a mission. Marcus Domask, he might be the best number 2 in the nation as well. I feel like those both players, they play very well off each other. And Terrence Shannon, he's averaging 30-plus over his last 4 games. So he's going to look to pile on the points here. Iowa's defense might be one of the worst defenses in the country. And it's kind of counterintuitive. Like I said earlier, they play so fast-paced that their defense cannot ever catch up. And because of that, they allow a ton of shots and they allow a ton of points. And I think Illinois is going to pour on the points here in this game. 9.5, not too much. Double-digit win coming our way. Give me Illinois minus 9.5.
All right, we keep sweeping. Let's try to get on a different side in this game. South Carolina going on the road to face off against Ole Miss. I'm seeing a couple different lines. I'm seeing South Carolina plus 4. I'm also seeing plus 2.5. What do we got on
Yep.
FanDuel?
Yep, we got 2.5 on FanDuel.
Plus 2.5 for South Carolina. Over under is 137.5. I'll have you start. First of all, we saw this South Carolina downfall coming. They've lost back-to-back games. We said a couple weeks ago they don't have the strength of schedule like Auburn and all these other teams. But I'll have you start.
Yeah, I was to say, you said I start, and then you start breaking down the game.
Right,
But
yeah,
I feel like this is going to be an entertaining game. I feel like both these teams, they're kind of frauds of what their record is. Both of them kind of whooped up on non-conference schedule, and as soon as SEC play, they kind of hit a dud. South Carolina's been a little bit more serviceable than Ole Miss, but Ole Miss, they have not looked very good since they started SEC play, and I think that's going to continue. I'm going to take the road dogs here. I'm going to take South Carolina plus 2.5, and whenever you look at this matchup historically, it's been kind of back and forth, 5-5 over the last 10 games. But whenever this game is in Ole Miss, South Carolina, they've won 2 games in a row on the road at Ole Miss. So I think they're going to make it 3 here in this game. Their offense is going to be elite. Ole Miss's defense is kind of no bueno. So I'm going to take the Gamecocks here. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna take Ole Miss minus 2.5, strictly off of Ole Miss's 14-1, I believe, at home this season. Is that correct? Did I just look that up? 14-1 at home this season.
14-1 at home, but South Carolina 5-3 on the road.
Right, but the head-to-head last time, Ole Miss only lost by 1 point at South Carolina. This is a revenge spot for Ole Miss. South Carolina's lost back-to-back games. I like Ole Miss. Give me Ole Miss minus 2.5. They find a way to get it done. South Carolina, I'm just not sold. They were a top 15 team a couple weeks ago. We said they were frauds. They've lost back-to-back. I don't think they're that good. So I'm going to take Ole Miss minus 2.5. Finally getting a split. I got Freeman on FanDuel and Ali on FanDuel. Freeman hit, Ali missed by the hook. So I'm very upset about the Ali. Plus, they wouldn't give him the ball at the end of the game for him to get fouled. So, yeah, Mr. White, we do it one-on-one on the player props there. Trey, let's move on. I text you about this game as well. North Carolina going up against Virginia. Virginia plus 2.5 as a home dog, over under 130 points. North Carolina has lost 8 consecutive games on the road at Virginia. I'll have you start.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm glad you brought that up to me. And I think that trend is going to continue here, guys. Give me Virginia as home dogs plus 2.5 in this game. They're just trying to beg us to take Virginia here. And I'm going to bite the cheese. Virginia, their defense is very elite. Just whenever we think that they cannot get any more elite on defense, they're holding teams to 50 points, 60 points on a bad night for Virginia. And I think that's what's going to take for them to cover and win this game. And I think that they could do it. They've shown that they can do that throughout this season against elite offenses. I'm not worried about North Carolina, I'm not worried about RJ Davis being able to come in this game and dominate, because Virginia, they're going to be able to hold them to a low number. So give me Virginia and the Cavaliers. I'm going to bite the cheese, Bear. I'm excited to see if you do the same.
Yeah, this is the perfect spot, too, for Virginia. They're plus 2.5 at home. They're a defensive team. North Carolina, not as much. Virginia's coming off an embarrassing performance against Virginia Tech by 26 points. They scored 41 freaking points in that game. I told myself I'd never bet Virginia again, and that's going to continue. I'm going to take North Carolina minus 2.5. I really think Virginia might be the better play, but I'm not going to put my money on Virginia. So give me North Carolina minus 2.5. I can't do it again. Let's move on. Let's get out of this disgusting game. Let's go to a great game. 3 o'clock tip time, CBS. Alabama going up against Kentucky. Kentucky minus 1.5, over under 180. What do we got?
176.5.
176.5. Have you start?
Gosh, this game, defense will probably be optional, and I would have sided with Kentucky here, but they just lost at home to Gonzaga just a couple weeks ago, and I think that's going to continue here. Give me Alabama plus 1.5 in this game. Bear, he's a closet Crimson Tide, Roll Tide fan, I feel like, but at the end of the day, he was a Kentucky fan earlier on this season, and maybe he's a Drake curse for them because they've not looked very good here recently, and I think it's going to continue here in this game. Alabama, they might have one of the most well-rounded offenses in college basketball. They can attack you literally any way they want, and I think that it's going to be shown throughout this game. So give me Alabama here, and it looks like we got some comments. Dennis Burns saying UK all the way, Kentucky, but we got Rob on my side, though, with Bama on the roll. Let's go.
Yeah, so I've got Kentucky for a future to win the national title. Probably not going to hit anymore. I got them at plus 1,400, got a really bad number. I just don't know. Like, Kentucky, they beat Auburn at Auburn. Like, that was an incredible win for them. They looked like the best team in the nation, looked like nobody can stop them. And then they come lay a dud against LSU. They stopped playing in the second half. They stopped playing defense. They couldn't hit any shots. I'm going to take Alabama. Alabama's a team that can score 100-plus points regardless of where they're at. So I know Kentucky can too, but I'm going to take Alabama. I think Alabama's playing great basketball, won 4 of the last 5. It looked like they weren't going to win that game against Florida, and they found a way to do it. So I'm going to take Bama here with the 1.5. Connecticut bounced back after the loss. I know. I don't know. I think Bama's the better team. I think Bama's the better team.
They did lose on a buzzer beater, not even a loss on a buzzer beater.
We're gonna take the 1.5. This is gonna be a close game. All right, let's move on. What's the next game we got? 1 sec. I'm getting so many notifications. All right, we've got another Big 12. Texas Tech going up against UCF. Texas Tech is the favorite on the road, -1.5, over under 140.5. Have you start here?
Yeah, I don't like that. Give me UCF here plus 1.5. They've looked very good at home in Orlando. And the Big 12 teams, they've had trouble going all the way over to Florida so far this year. And I think that's going to continue here, especially whenever you factor in that the Golden Knights, they have one of the best defenses in the country. Texas Tech, they're nothing to write home about outside of Pop Isaacs. And I think that the Golden Knights are going to do enough to shut him down. And outside of him, I'm not worried about anyone else. So I think that UCF's going to be able to control this game. I love that this line is so low. So give me UCF here.
Yep, circle of life in the Big 12. The losing streak for the Golden Knights started with Texas Tech at Texas Tech. They've lost 4 consecutive games. This is where they get right. UCF wins this game outright. I think the defense is great. The offense is going to come against this Texas Tech team. Should be a low-scoring game, but in one possession game at home, you got to take the home team. So give me UCF with you plus 1.5 there for that game. That game's going to be ugly as sin if you watch that one. Let's move on to another Big 12 game. Texas going on the road to Allen Fieldhouse. KU -7, over under 144.5. I'll start. I'm going to take Texas plus 7. I don't think KU's that good. I really don't. I know they're at home. The home field crowd is the best in the nation, but I think Texas has more guys this season than KU. KU is not very deep. Kansas has Hunter Dickinson, and that's about it right now. I know they've got Kevin McCullough. He's dealing with some injuries. Harris is dealing with some injuries. Their bench is just not good. So I'm going to take Texas with the points. I think it's going to be a close game. Trey?
Yeah, I'm going to side with you here. It's up to 7.5 now, and I'm going to take Texas with you. Looks like we got Rob saying Kansas, but at least we got Dennis on our side. Dennis and Rob might need to get a show going because they're button heads, maybe first take style. But I'm going to go with Texas here. Texas, they've shown in the past that they can go into Allen Foghouse and walk out with a win. They did it last season. In fact, they beat KU by 20 points at KU.
I don't know if I like it anymore. That sucks.
So, So that's where I'm going to be going. Give me Texas here. I think that they're going to show up here. Last season in the Big 12, they're going to want to leave a sour taste in KU's mouth for sure.
I did not know they beat KU by 20 last season at Allen. I'm not going to switch. That's too many points. It's too many points. Kansas is not that good. All right, we're going to move on out of the Big 12. Auburn going up against Georgia. This is a game I think Georgia might be live. Georgia's plus 7.5, over under 149.5. I'm taking Georgia with the points. This team can score a ton of points. The defense is horrible, but Auburn hasn't been playing great, especially after that Kentucky game. So I'm going to take Georgia with the points. Trey?
Yeah, 7.5. That's a big home dog. But as March comes closer and closer, Bruce Pearl, he starts dancing a little bit more and more. So I'm going to go with Auburn here. I'm going to take them on the road, -7.5. I think that they're going to be able to win this game by double digits. Georgia, I did like them earlier on in the season. Maybe that's just because I was blinded by their non-conference play and they were whipping up on teams. But as SEC play started, they kind of moved towards the middle of the pack, towards the bottom of the standings. And I really like their defense, but their defense has kind of faltered as conference play has progressed. And I think Auburn's going to be able to go into Athens and walk out with a big win. So give me Auburn here. Me and Bear, we're going opposite sides at least once. We got to have that.
I think they're going to win outright. I might change my dog of the week to Georgia. I might do it. We're going to get to the dog of the week in a little bit. Let's go over to this game. Washington State going on the road after a monster win against Arizona. Arizona. Facing off against Arizona State. Washington State's -5.5, over under 137.5. I'm going to have you start. I don't know much about either of these teams. I think they both suck.
No, come on. You got to put some respect on Washington State's name. I'm going to take them here -5.5 in this game. They've actually been sneaky all season long. And whenever I look at their KenPom ranking, their luck is actually near the bottom, and they're a 21-6 team. So that goes to show that they have really worked really hard to get that record. So I think that's going to show up here in this game. And whenever we look at the Pac-12 standings, they're in first place. And if you can get that bye on the conference schedule, I think that's going to really impact what Washington State's going to try to do. So give me Washington State here. I'm going to take them -5.5 in this game.
All right. I'll take Washington State with you. They won 5 in a row. They won 5 in a row, covered in 4 of 5. Straight up win against Arizona. This is a letdown spot, though, I feel like. especially against Arizona State. Arizona State's not a good team. We'll take Washington State with you, minus 5.5. I like the Cougs. We will roll with the Cougs in that game. Let's go over to Colorado State, a team I've watched a ton this season, going up against UNLV. Colorado State's -1, over-under is 139. Colorado State's going to win this game big. UNLV is not that good. Colorado State's very good. Stevens is one of the best players in that conference. Colorado State rolls in this game. Defense does it. Offense does it. 10-plus point win for Colorado State. Trey?
Yeah, we're going to go opposite sides here. Give me UNLV as the home dogs here. Whenever I look at this matchup, it's kind of 50-50, and it kind of depends on which team is playing at home. So I'm going to go with the home team here. And whenever we look at how Colorado State has played on the road, it is not good. They're 14-1 at home, 3-6 on the road. They're a totally different team whenever they have to travel outside of their home stadium. So I'm going to take the point here. I'm going to take the team that's going to fight for something, and that's going to be the Red and Rebels. So give me UNLV plus 1.5.
All right, let's move on. Texas A&M going on the road to face off against Tennessee. Tennessee laying double digits, -10, over under 1. I'm seeing 11 as well. What do we got? 10.5?
Yeah, we got 10.5.
10.5, over under 146.5. I'll have you go.
Yeah, I was a big Texas A&M guy early on this season. They faltered here, and Tennessee, they've looked really good this year. Kind of looked better on the road than they've done at home, in my opinion. At least they've been blowing out teams on the road. Home games are a little bit closer than what I would like to see out of this Tennessee team. So I'm going to go with Texas A&M. I'm going to take the double digits. I'm going to take them at plus 10.5 here in this game. Obviously, I think that the Volunteers are going to walk out with a win, but this is just too many points for an Aggies team that can shut you down defensively and just do enough offensively with their 3 studs to do enough to keep games competitive. And I think that's what's going to happen here in this game. So I'm going to take Texas A&M here with the big points, plus 10.5, to keep this game competitive. They're not going to win, but they're going to keep it competitive.
No, sir. No, sir. Tennessee here. -10.5 is going to be my play. I don't know if they stormed the court against Tennessee the first time, but they might have. Texas A&M clipped Tennessee on the road a couple games ago. Tennessee, this is a revenge spot for them. They looked absolutely horrible against Missouri. They didn't cover the spread. They played a decent second half. The first half, Missouri controlled that game. Missouri's a really bad team. Tennessee, they played 2 fantastic halves in this game. They beat Texas A&M by at least 10 points. So give me Tennessee -10.5 as the play there. Let's move on. I don't know if I made this a member play or not. Villanova going on. I didn't. Villanova going on the road against Connecticut. Connecticut -12.5. This is put responsibly. I'm not a professional. I'm going to put a lot of money on Connecticut -12.5 in this game. If you saw the tweet of Hurley, it was the Game of Thrones Cersei walk of shame. Everybody yelling shame at him with his face on it. I feel like Connecticut's going to win this game by 30 points. It's just a feeling. They're coming off that loss. They got killed by Creighton. They had a really good first 4 minutes. Creighton controlled the rest of the game. UConn, we've said it many times. This is the best team in the nation by a landslide. They're going to win this game by 20-plus, 30-plus points. Trey?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you here. Give me UConn. Give me the Huskies. They are head and shoulders the best team in the country. They've won 3 straight games against Villanova and 4 out of the last 5. So it looks like UConn's kind of dominated ever since Hurley went over there. And I expect that to continue here in this game. And in fact, they already beat Villanova at Villanova this year. They're just going to look to sweep this series with a big win here. And I love what Bear said. Did he actually get shamed like the girl off of Walk?
He tweeted on his account. He edited his face on the Game of Thrones clip. He is going to have his boys ready to play. He's going to have so much energy. The crowd's going to be great. I think this is going to be a blowout. And Villanova's playing really good.
That's what we thought about St. John's and Iona, and they didn't cover against Georgetown.
Yeah, well, I said that they would lose outright because Rick ripping his guys like that, I would have laid down and died. I don't want my coach doing that to me, but I don't know. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I was asking about the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, also Villanova's playing really well right now, so 12.5 is kind of crazy. So that line's
Eric Dixon can only do so much, though.
I feel like a lot of people are going to take Villanova and they're going to be suckers. So let's go UConn. We're sweeping UConn. Let's go 2 more games. 2 more games, and we have Dog of the Week in the Parlay Lock. San Diego State University going on the road to face off against Fresno. Fresno plus 11.5 at home. I'll have you start.
Yeah, I mean, I really am looking forward to this game, honestly, because the Mountain West, I feel like this conference does not get enough respect for what they're doing. And San Diego State, a lot of people forget that their magical run in March Madness last year, and they returned most of those players, and that's probably why they're 20-7 right now, but they should honestly be a lot better than that. And it's probably because they struggle on the road. They're 4-7 on the road this year. But guys, whenever you look at this matchup, San Diego State, they've won 9 straight games against Fresno State, and 5 of those games were at Fresno State. So I'm going to take San Diego State here in this game. I'm going to take the big points. I'm going to take them minus 11.5. Fresno State, I don't think they're going to be able to score 60 points here in this game. And San Diego State, they're going to be able to score 75 plus here because their offense has been able to do enough this year while their defense is still locking teams down. And look for Jaden Leedy to just have another MVP-like showing here. So give me San Diego State and the Aztecs here, big minus 11.5.
Trey, I'm seeing San Diego State won 74-47 last time they played. Fresno State, in 4 of the 5 games, they scored 47, 43, 46, 44. That is incredible. I mean, this SDSU defense, they're going to shut them down again. Give me San Diego State with you. Minus 11.5 on the road. What?
If we look at the last 9 games that San Diego State won, their highest scoring day was 64 points in overtime. Other than that, was a 57-point game in 2021. San Diego State controls this game. I love that you pointed that out.
Wow. I guess, yeah, they just dominate Fresno. All right, we'll go with San Diego State, minus 11.5 as the play there. Let's move on to the last game of the slate. It's a stinker, but St. Mary's is in the top 25. San Diego on the road to face off against St. Mary's. St. Mary's laying 20.5, over under 138.5. I'm going to take St. Mary's. I'm going to take the Gales. I know nothing about San Diego. I do know St. Mary's is one of the best defenses in the nation, one of the best, not one of the best, top 50 probably in offensive efficiency. So we're going to take the Gales minus 20.5 at home. Trey?
Bear, I'm going to tell you 3 final scores out of the last 10 games for St. Mary's. This team is elite. They beat Pepperdine 103-59.
Mm-hmm.
Then they beat Pacific 84-43.
Mm-hmm.
And then they beat Pacific again 76-28. We're talking about college basketball here, guys.
But could we get 3 guys off the street and beat Pacific? I mean, we might be able to.
Bad. Pacific is so very bad. I was looking to actually fade them for my pick that we're going to be recording for tomorrow. The line hasn't dropped yet, so look out for a Pacific play in the near future. That team's bad, but St. Mary's, they're also very good. I think they're going to be able to cover this 20.5. If this game was at San Diego, I'd probably go with them because I've actually picked 2 San Diego games this year, and I've watched them play. They're an all-right team, but they're not going to be able to keep up pace with St. Mary's, and they're not going to be able to put the ball in the hoop against St. Mary's defense. Bear touched on it. St. Mary's, the Gales, they have one of the best defenses in the country and a top 60 offense. That's a deadly combination. Look out for them come March.
All right, Jay, that was the last game. Let's go over to the Parlay Lock. Tuning in from work, hitting a 3-teamer right now on track 2 for 3, payout 160. All right, a little round robin action like that. Trey, let's go to the Parlay Lock for Saturday slate of games. I'm going to take UConn minus 12.5. This is going to be my biggest play probably in the last month. I think UConn's going to dominate. We talked about the tweet. The crowd's going to be electric. They're going to dominate this game against Villanova. Trey?
Yeah, and I broke down this game earlier. I'm going to take K-State, my Wildcats. EMA, let's go, baby. Plus 1.5 against BYU. I'm a big BYU fan as well, so you cannot call me biased because Bear can attest to it. I love this Cougars team, but this K-State team, they are elite at home. And BYU, they struggle on the road. They've lost 2 straight conference games on the road against Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. Might as well make it 3 in a row. Give me K-State here. I love this lock. I'm going to put down probably 2.5 units on it. Let's see what happens.
Okay. I think we won We've won back-to-back Parlay Locks, so we are on a roll. Let's go for 3 in a row. Let's go to the dog of the week. You are top dog, so I'll have you start.
Yep, we are even on wins, but I got more points. Haha, sucker. I'm going with DePaul here, plus 4.5. And you guys are like, DePaul plus 4.5. Who the hell are they playing to only be 4.5-point dogs? Well, maybe another terrible team in Georgetown. Georgetown, they had everything going up against them in their last game. They had a team full of quitters that said, you know what, I hate our coach. We're only going to put in half effort. And they still almost lost by double digits in that game. DePaul, they are at home here. And that's going to boost us. DePaul, they've had this game circled for a while now. Just like what I said about Detroit Mercy at home against IUPUI. DePaul, they circled at home against Georgetown as their lone conference win of the season. The time is now. Give me DePaul.
Yeah, and my line's not out yet, but I'm going to take Brown to win the game outright at home going up against Cornell. Cornell has to go on the road. Remember, these Ivy League teams, they play back-to-back. Cornell's playing right now against Yale at home. 9 minutes left in the game. They're up by 5 points, 49-44. That game is quote unquote for the conference title. Like the winner of that game is ahead of the conference, and everybody else in the conference is not that good. So Cornell might think they have it locked up. Not so fast though, because Brown, if they win tonight against Columbia, which they are right now, they've won back-to-back games. They're an incredibly athletic team. They can run. They can play defense. I'm going to take Brown to win the game outright. It's a huge letdown spot for Cornell if they do manage to top off Yale in this game tonight. So give me Brown to win outright against Cornell and mess everything up in the Ivy League as my dog of the week. Trey, do we want to build a parlay, or are we just going to call it good?
We can throw out a 2 or 3 leg parlay. Each of us give out 2 or 3 picks if you want to.
Okay. All right, let's do a 4-legger. I'm gonna put my lock in there of UConn as one of my plays for sure.
All right, Connecticut minus 12.5. Do you have another one locked and loaded, or do you want me to throw out one?
I'll have you go.
All right, guys. Let's see if Pacific Line is out yet. I doubt it. Yeah. It is not out yet. So that is absolutely painstaking. So Barry, you can go real quick, and
let's take SDSU. I really like the trends you gave me. They've lost 8? They've won like 8 consecutive, and Fresno State can't score over 40 points. So sure, SDSU minus 11.5.
All right, I love that play. You know what? I'm confident enough to put it as my lock. Might as well throw it into it. Sorry that we both gave out both of our parlay locks in here, but
that's all right.
That just goes to show that we're both very confident in what we are expecting from both of our locks. And the last one, I saw it down here, and I feel like Bear's gonna love this one. It's hard to fade the island, so that's where I'm going to be going. Give me Hawaii, and they're even slight favorites here at home, which I absolutely love. Give me Hawaii minus 2.5 against Long Beach State. Long Beach State, they've not looked overly well in the Big West Conference, so I expect Hawaii to just control this game. They're at home. It's a long ways away, even from California to Hawaii. And even whenever the Californians get to Hawaii, they're going to kick up their feet and relax for a little bit. So give me Hawaii here, minus 2.5 is a 4-legger. You throw in $10 on here, and then you get 127.37 cents coming back your way. Wow, that's a perfect weekend.
Yeah, and I love the Rainbow Warriors, so great play there. All right, guys, that's going to do it. We appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Make sure you guys catch our videos tomorrow. We've got a college basketball and NBA video coming out.
We got the wheel.
Oh, the wheel, the member wheel, $50 giveaway. We're up to 30-something now of YouTube members. Thank you guys, everybody who have become a member on our YouTube channel. Trey, I'll have you shuffle and spin whenever you want.
All right, shuffle. Good luck, everybody. I don't want to be picking favorites, but Rob White, he's been in here for a couple weeks. He's talking. Hopefully he wins. Hey, it's a new member.
Lardou
Bland.
Lardou Bland.
That wrong, but thank you.
I know a Bland. He gets a lot of pick sixes. All right, guys. That's going to do it tonight. Thank you guys for commenting. Thank you guys for being here. Remember to check out our videos tomorrow and our website, bearsprofitplays.com. We got some free plays up there. Thanks again, guys, for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. All right? Have a good night.
Peace.